Eagle 6 in the track.
Roger.
Over 1 bombs away. One's going to climb high above 20. You're south.
Eagle 6 radar contact. Eagle 6 is visual.
And it goes left.
Welcome back to the DCS SITREP, everyone. I'm your host, Prickly Hedgehog. Thanks for tuning in for another episode of the DCS SITREP, where we discuss and dissect DCS news and information as it comes to hand. Now, no doubt you're listening right now to music from Meteor, whom many of you will be familiar with. They produce music for Heatblur modules, beginning with the mighty F-14 soundtrack several years ago. Now, the album I'm selecting music from is called The Phantom Zone, and that's no coincidence. We'll begin, therefore, with Heatblur because the team hinted at work going on to tune the multi-crew feature of the Phantom 2 with a couple of teasers on Facebook. Now, the picture that you're looking at was accompanied with a little question here. Have you selected your Wizzo yet? Heatblur asked, because it's a tough job or work in the Phantom, and part of our polishing process is making sure multi-crew works great on day one. It's tough work, but expect a solid and smooth experience from the very first minute flying together. Now, I think they're referencing here to the fact that we have Jester 2. Remember that Jester 2 is a complete rework of the original system that they did in the F-14, and it should be a little bit more sophisticated and represents work that will flow on into other projects. So we'll have to wait and see what that looks like. I'm really excited about the rework of this. Jester 1 was pretty good, does have some kinks and quirks here and there, but if they have improved on that, that's going to be exciting stuff to see in game. We can't read into this too much in terms of how polished the module is for consumer readiness, but these snippets are a tasty teaser of work progress, I think, and the likelihood, therefore, of a Q4 release. I say this because generally Heatblur keeps its progress development relatively secret and only produces informational briefings on work that is about to be injected into a module in open beta. Sometimes those can be incredibly detailed, such as the flight model updates we had this year to the F-14, which ED also references in its newsletters, but generally some of these are so detailed that they only pick up the highlights or publish a synopsis, if you like, in the changelog of the most important features. So the other snippet was a teaser of music for the original soundtrack coming with release with the Phantom 2. As I mentioned, it's from Meteor, and I'll publish a link to his website below. The Phantom Zone album that I'm playing right now doesn't have that teaser track in it, so I expect it'll be a little bit more heavily 70s classic rock rather than the synthwave hits that you're listening to. If you enjoy the 80s stuff, the synth vibe, you'll love Meteor's discography, but I expect another separate album, if you like. Maybe it'll include some of these ones, but I think it'll be a separate, more 70s based soundtrack, 60s, 70s based soundtrack based on the fact that the Phantom is an older aircraft than the F-14. It's just a different era, different genre. Cool. So again, what does it mean? I think we can detect again some interesting developments from Heatblur. Like I said, they're not ones for throwing out needless hype. So any information in terms of these bubbles of information that are floating to the surface, we may see a more formal announcement on the Phantom 2 soon. Again, my projection is Q4, so stay tuned. Now, in this week's ED newsletter, the team described that Czech 6 simulations have been working diligently on the PC-9A, which is a turboprop trainer aircraft and used by the Royal Australian Air Force. It's been a trainer for them for the last 30 years. So no surprise then, Czech 6 are also responsible for the top-end Australian map, which if you haven't connected those dots yet, that's the company that is responsible for both of these modules. That is still a work in progress at this juncture. ED indicated that the team are close to submitting external and internal 3D models for evaluation with them for the 9A, and they are currently working on the flight model. So exciting news there. Remember that Czech 6 is one of 2 Aussie developers that we have with DCS World. The other one is Flying Iron Simulations. They're working on the A7E Corsair 2. That has been pretty silent lately on that. Not a lot of information, if any at all, and I'm eager to see how the aircraft has progressed in the last 12 months. They are working on some pretty detailed number crunching stuff for the flight model. So looking forward, like I said, to more information about the progress on that particular aircraft. As for the Czech 6 team, I suspect the map may arrive before the 9A if the screenshots that I'm looking at are anything to go by for the map. For top end, unless they're planning on launching the products together, some sort of bundle, I don't know if that would be beneficial to them. It's difficult to say. It does always bug me though. I know a lot of people aren't overly thrilled about these trainers in DCS World. They do represent a little bit more of a niche, especially over the big sexy jets like the F-14, the 15, the 16, and the 18, etc. They just have more pull, but I do get a lot of people asking, they wish that ED would do some basic tutorials on how to fly these big sexy jets. And it's easy to forget that there are a lot of hours of flight training and instruction that pilots going into fighter jets get with turboprop aircraft before they even get to sit in one of the big sexy jets. So the fundamentals really are established and cemented by the time anyone climbs into a proper fighter jet for the first time. So, and for that matter, actually any of the heavy aircraft like a refueler or similar support aircraft, those also require a goodly amount of fundamental skills. In DCS, we get to bypass all that. We get to fluff around in high-performance aircraft with wanton abandonment, often of any of the fundamentals that real pilots have picked up by the time they dip into aircraft that we like to play with. So just remember that. Do yourself a favor if you're looking for a more comprehensive and perhaps more realistic approach to training. Some of these trainer aircraft can be highly beneficial, especially if you're able to partner up with people in a team where somebody has a little bit more knowledge and can train you. That is really cool. It's a great way to experience DCS. I know that's not accessible for a lot of people, or there's an intimidation factor. Tactical Pascal has some opportunities in their Discord channel for that kind of experience, and it is incredibly beneficial to have somebody sit there with you and go through some stuff that you can't pick it up by osmosis. You can't necessarily pick it up just by watching. You have to be able to experience it, and it's hard to do in a 3D environment like this. Anyway, either way, I'm really looking forward to what Czech 6 is offering here with both that aircraft, which I think is an exciting niche, and of course the map, which I think will be popular too for those looking for, a little bit of an Aussie experience in the great southern land. Now, while we're on the topic of big sexy jets, WAGS uploaded a video this weekend on the continuing work on the data link simulation for the Hornet, which I think we can expect plugged into this coming open beta patch. Similar to last week's reference, the system allows for much greater SA and data sharing between flights of aircraft, which can be especially useful when triangulating emissions from complex air defense systems. If you're interested in building those in-game, getting something a little bit more realistic to dismantle, then the Ops Center by Mike Solium does a great series of videos on how to create a more realistic ADS in DCS for those that are interested. I'll plug some sort of link in here so you can check that out. So as well as WAGS' video on the F-18's data link system as well, I'll plug that up there as well. So note that the system is not a simple copy and paste of the F-16s from the previous week. This is rather a separate system. It does have a number of differences, such as the number of donors or members in the Hornet's support system. It is a less sexy feature for sure, I'm sure for a lot of you, but it actually does represent a lot of programming work from ED to make this functional in game. And as I said last week, those of you who are multiplayer centric will benefit from this a lot more perhaps than solo players, but it's going to be interesting to see how it gets implemented. So this is a short video. This really brings us to the end of the DCS SITREP. I did see or note a short video on the Mirage F1BE. Remember, this is the two-seat trainer by Airgus for the Mirage, and the video was done by Ismail Jorda, who does some pretty cool stuff. Remember, this is one of several teams, the variants, that the team has produced. I'll throw a link up for that as well in the description below to check out, and I'm excited to see that aircraft. I think that's coming in an upcoming patch along with some of the other things that I've mentioned here. So once again, thank you for tuning into the DCS SITREP. I've been pretty busy of late, as one of my new roles at work is learning how to be a drone pilot. So I've got a lot of online training for that and some new aeronautical basic knowledge, which I'm sure will benefit my DCS knowledge to some degree. So hopefully I can impart some of that helpful stuff. Life is good. Thanks to those who have asked about my father, who is recovering pretty well from a pretty severe stroke about a month or so ago. He's doing a lot better. I was going to rush down to New Zealand to check on him, but he has insisted he wants me to come down next year so he can recover a little bit more and we can spend some more quality time together. So I'm looking forward to that. It's encouraging news on the personal front. We're winding down the end of the year here into winter, so lots of things to look forward to. I think we'll do another giveaway here for the Phantom 2, and when I get more tangible information on that from Heatblur as an early access module, so we'll do another giveaway. I spoke briefly with last week's winner on the Napalm, who has requested a module of his choice, and we'll facilitate that when that's released. So yeah, stick around, stay tuned. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more information, and of course those future giveaways do have to be a member of the channel, or not a member but at least a subscriber right now, to get some of these fantastic giveaways that are coming up in DCS world. So we'll see you next time. See ya.